Okay, but why does this always happen to me? Hi, my name is Sydney. Welcome back to my channel. In today's episode of Sydney's Life is Actually Ridiculous, we investigate an interaction I had with a Liberal while avoiding getting evicted again. I am gonna need therapy after all of this, I swear. Now, I'm going to say ahead of time that this story is a little bit less exciting than the last one because, you know, in the last story, I actually got thrown out of an apartment. And if you haven't seen that video, I will link it in the description box. But rest assured, in this case, I haven't been thrown out of my apartment. Yet. Because after all, it is DC, and that's entirely possible. But anyway, I recently had a hilarious, but mostly disconcerting, interaction with the girl who owns the place that I'm staying in. And I admit I walked away from it feeling a little amused, a little bewildered, and a little bit scared for my safety. I'm kidding, but not really. The point is, I thought you guys would get a good giggle out of it, so let me tell you a story. So after leaving my last apartment here in DC, and all the unfortunateness surrounding that situation, I decided that it might be a little bit easier to just book a long-term Airbnb because, you know, who doesn't love hemorrhaging money? I figured that it would give me enough time to find a permanent place, sort some things out, avoid getting stabbed by liberals. And the girl whose place I moved into is actually a really nice person, if I'm honest. We're gonna call her Rose. So Rose comes over the other day to pick some things up from the apartment, and I needed an iron because I like ironing. At this point, I don't definitively know what Rose's political leanings are, and to be honest with you, I don't really care. But when she knocked on the door that day and I let her in, for a split second, I remembered that I had my laptop sitting open in the living room. I also remembered that I have a big Trump sticker stuck on it. It looks like this. I'm in danger. So she's not even in the house yet, and I've run back into the living room to basically hide my laptop, which is exactly what I did, and she's probably thinking I'm doing something super shady. And I was hiding my dirty, conservative, Trump-loving opinions from you, Rose. It would honestly be so funny to me if she ever watched this at any point and was just like, So anyway, Rose comes in, I ask her if she wants a cup of tea, she says yes, we settle in for some girly chats, I boil some water, and it's all very nice. We start talking about life, how I'm doing here in DC, we start talking about dating, and I start lamenting how I think dating is just generally difficult across the board because you have to take into consideration so many different factors. One of those factors being the political way that someone leans. I was joking, just slotted it in there, just prepared to move right away from that area of conversation, but that's not what was gonna happen. Without skipping a beat, Rose leans forward and says, I know, you can never date a Republican. I am in so much danger. Can we also just for a second acknowledge this disgusting assumption that all liberals have that everyone else that they talk to is also a liberal? Can we just, like really? I shower. And I also don't wear those ugly Birkenstock sandals. Can we, you know, stop it? So I'm sitting here, honestly don't even know what to say because on one front, I absolutely don't want to lie and pretend that I am too a liberal because I don't know how to do that. But also by the same token, I don't want to out myself as a Republican or Trump supporter because we saw how well that worked out the last time. So instead, I was like, haha, I'm a moderate, so I don't really mind dating people who are center-left or center-right. It doesn't really bother me. It does. And if looks could kill, she would have melted the skin from my bones. We divert away from that particular area of conversation, but not before she got in some really great jabs about Republicans and Christians, you dirty freedom-loving bags of sand. So at this point, the water's boiled and we go into the kitchen to make some cups of tea. I get a mug out, which is actually probably the one that I'm using right now, and I say to her, being the sweetie pie that I am, is there any particular cup that you want to use? Because, I don't know, maybe she had a favorite. As expected, she enthusiastically pulled a mug out of the cupboard, which shows how global warming will make the sea levels rise and which continents will eventually be submerged. I'm not joking. Genuinely, not a joke. It even says climate change on the bottom of it. Well, okay then. Because the mug is heat activated, when she started pouring in the boiling water, she started to show me how Australia will eventually be submerged and how basically the rising sea levels are going to destroy our planet. Because you know that hasn't literally been happening for millions and millions of years. Haha, science. I'm getting a full-fledged breakdown of climate change in the kitchen, and all I'm thinking is, I just want to drink my tea. We go back into the living room, and it's at this point that I realize my Trump Salute to America ticket is sitting on the coffee table, right in front of her. Well, I'm sorry. I didn't have time to hide all my Trump paraphernalia. And sidebar, can I just add how sad it is that I feel like I actually have to actively hide things that are right-wing or Trump-orientated because I'm scared of being abused or evicted. Can we just acknowledge that for a second? I mean, I love the United States, but this stuff is just getting actually ridiculous. So eventually, somehow, the conversation rolls back around to politics and how horrible Trump supporters are. And I came to find out that Rose's brother actually voted for Trump, and she basically said in not so many words that she's struggled to have a relationship with him since. She also told me about how racist Australians are. No, really. Please tell me about the ins and outs and the inner workings of my country that you've never lived in. Sounds great. She also noted how disappointed she is in female Trump voters because at least 58% of them only voted for him because he's pro-life and Hillary is not. Could be that, could be because she's a criminal. I'm not sure. And at this point I'm thinking, are you serious? Do you really want to talk about people voting on single issues? What about climate change? Or the people who only vote based on how much they can extort from the government? Really? I also love it when feminists go around and stomp on the ideals of non-feminist women. Amazing. So at this point, I'm looking at Rose and watching her drink from her climate change mug and just slowly watching Australia sink under the water, and I'm thinking to myself, I wonder if she's gonna brandish a knife or something at some stage. Mainly because I told her that she is more than welcome to hang out with my Republican friends and me. Because, you know, she might learn something. Because, you know, we're not all bad. She says, Sydney, you know, I've had a lot of conversations with Republicans, and it's taken me since 2016 to be able to have a conversation about Donald Trump and what he's doing to our country without screaming and crying. Oh, you're one of those. So I ask her, do you mean that you scream and cry at Republicans? She says, no, I only scream and cry in my safe spaces. At this point, I am internally wheezing. Someone, for the first time in my life outside of university, just used the term safe space in front of me. Unironically, I am sitting opposite a bona fide Trump screamy, sit on the ground, scream at the sky, hate on Trump Hillary supporter that has no idea that at that exact moment she is sitting opposite not just a Trump supporter, but one that actually has an active YouTube channel. I am the people she needs a safe space from. At this point, I don't even know how to keep interacting with her because I can't actually give her any of my real political opinions. I certainly can't contradict hers, and I'm really not willing to have a repeat of getting kicked out of my apartment 2.0. I honestly just, seriously. But here is the kicker to this entire situation. She told me that she wants to help me with my living situation and that we can even live together here until I find my own place. Obviously not gonna happen now. Can you guys even imagine me pretending to not be me for any length of time? I don't want her to scream at me or burn all my clothes. She also said that we should hang out sometime and that she really likes the way that I do my makeup and maybe I could spend some time teaching her. Both of which I definitely don't mind doing because I actually like her as a person, despite the fact that she literally hates everything about me and said that my entire country is racist. And I guess that's the thing here. Rose likes me just fine, not knowing what my political leanings are. It disappoints me on a fundamental level that that perspective would change simply because she would potentially find out that I'm a Trump supporter. Because outside of my political belief system, I'm still the same person. I'm still gonna laugh with you, enjoy your company, be good to you. But let's be real, if she knew what my political leanings actually were, I wouldn't even be staying here. For me, at least, Rose is a really cool girl, and despite the fact that we are diametrically opposed when it comes to our political viewpoints, that doesn't really bother me. Because in my opinion, it just gives you an opportunity to discuss and argue and maybe even perhaps change each other's perspectives. But I feel really sad about the fact that she has exemplified that she is definitely part of a group of liberals, and I don't know whether they are the bigger group or the smaller group, but I just know that they exist, who are completely unwilling to have a conversation or a discussion with you if they know that you think differently. It was just genuinely one of the funniest and strangest exchanges that I have ever had in the United States. Except for that one time that I got thrown out of an Uber by a liberal. So yeah, I'm basically staying in the apartment of a person who legitimately hates me. I just think that it is really sad that this is where we are at as a society, where we have legitimately groups of people who are completely unable to have discussions, talk to, or even interact with anyone simply because they think differently. But even so, I hope that this story gave you all a little chuckle, and now I open the floor to you. What do you guys think about this kind of situation? Do you think that liberals are more closed-minded than conservatives? And do you think that things are getting incredibly polarized and that's why we end up in these kind of situations? As always, if you liked the video, hit subscribe and the thumbs up button. If you want to leave a comment, feel free to do so. Just be respectful about it, and I will see you guys next time.